Awesome, thank you. Let me share my screen again real quick. Loading. Yeah, so like Adrian said, is share the body, body love, realizing the ideal body is the one you have session. So first, we wanted to start with introductions. So just to kind of start the space off, just so everybody knows who we're talking to, and also so that we as facilitators kind of know why you decided to join us today. So we'll go first. So my name is Maria. I'm a senior. My pronouns are she, her, hers. This is my second year as a student facilitator for the Body Project. And I decided to join because I'm Egyptian, so I've seen a lot of the like different stigmas and just stereotypes around body images and how we perceive body types. And then also Hannah will be joining us shortly, but I wanted to introduce her. But also, she's a junior. Her pronouns are also she, her, hers. She's a second year peer leader as well. And she was interested in getting involved because she herself struggles with body positivity and wanted to be involved with a group who educates, promotes, and empowers people to challenge the idea of being perfect and creating positive outlooks on body image. So if we want to just share and then maybe popcorn to someone else, if you're not comfortable maybe talking out loud, you can just throw it in the chat. I think, did Gabrielle go?
Yes.
Okay, cool. I think everybody did go then. Awesome. Thank you all for sharing. I think also what's nice about doing this is that we all feel like that we have similar reasons for being here in a sense, which shows why it's important to talk about this. So I hope we all get something out of this in regards to what we hope to get out of it. Maya's gonna go into this a little bit, but our sessions are usually longer. So this is like a little like sneak peek in a sense, but definitely a good way to start the conversation. So thank you all for sharing and for being here. We're really excited to be here with you all today.
Yeah, so these are some of the goals from the official workshop. I don't know if any of you guys are familiar with the Body Project, but it is actually a research-based intervention method. And there is a set of activities that usually we follow, and it occurs over a 2-week period, and there's 2 different workshops that are 2 hours long. And so obviously because of the online format, we are currently not doing it right now in the same way that it would be in person, and we have to transition all of the activities that we would be doing in person to a virtual format. However, this little workshop will hopefully give you a little insight into what we would normally do in a workshop, and just some things and some discussions that we would have, and just overall just breaking down some ideals that are so ingrained into our culture.
So first we want to start with a video. So you can still see my screen, right? Even though
Yeah.
Awesome. Cool. So, oh, wait, I think I have to stop share so that you can hear my screen too.
Funny, I was gonna say the same.
Can you hear that? I paused it, but could you hear it? Awesome.
Yes.
Okay. Here we go.
Hiya, Barbie.
Hi, Ken. You're looking unrealistically thin today.
Funny, I was gonna say the same about you. Barbie is one of the most popular dolls in America, but that doesn't mean that she's loved by everyone. For years, women advocates have criticized the doll for her proportions, which they say set unrealistic and damaging body expectations for young girls. In response, her maker Mattel created a handful of new sizes in 2016, including Curvy Barbie. But how unrealistic is Barbie really? Is Curvy much better? And where does Ken fit into all of this? That's what we set out to discover.
Hello, and welcome to our Barbie experiment. Today we're going to open up each of these 3 dolls and do a little bit of math to try to figure out what they would look like if they were life-size. We have your more typical Barbie over here. We've got a curvy Barbie, which is kind of a newer doll. And then, of course, we also have a Ken doll because I couldn't not get Ken. So let's get started.
First, we measured each of the dolls, their height, waist, and so on, and used some high school algebra to figure out their life-size measurements. Then, we compared them to a real-life woman for comparison, our colleague Jensen.
So, Jensen, how tall are you?
I am 5'3.5".
So you are the average height of an American woman. Congratulations.
Wow, thank you.
First thing we're going to do is take some of your measurements,
Okay.
and then we're going to compare that to Barbie. Will you point to your belly button for me?
Right here.
Okay.
Although Jensen is the average height of an American woman, she has a smaller than average waist. But still, it's not nearly as thin as Barbie's. If we scale Barbie to life size, her waist would be a mere 50 centimeters, and her hips just 71 centimeters. And if Jensen had Barbie's proportions, this is what she would look like. She'd have shorter arms, a longer neck, and tiny feet. In fact, they'd be so small that she'd have trouble balancing and would be forced to walk on all fours. And what about curvy Barbie? Is she any more realistic? Actually, yes, at least relative to Jensen. Her waist would be around 63 centimeters and her hips around 90, the same as Jensen's. Now here's Jensen with curvy Barbie's proportions. Not that different, though of course she still wouldn't be able to walk upright. Now, we can't forget about Ken. This time, I stood in for comparison. If we scale Ken up to my height, his waist would be just 63 centimeters. And he would also have unusually small feet, long legs, and larger calves. But his biceps, well, mine are actually bigger. Ken, you better watch out. So, as you might expect, most Barbies look nothing like average Americans, as fit as they may be. In fact, researchers found that the chance of a woman having traditional Barbie's proportions is less than 1 in 100,000. And that's a problem.
My name is Deborah Tolman. I'm a professor of critical social psychology and women and gender studies at Hunter College at City University of New York.
And according to Tolman,
dolls actually have an enormous effect on girls and boys' sense of themselves, their ideas about body, particular thin body ideals. If you have an ideal and you're never able to achieve it, you don't need a psychological study to show that it makes you feel bad.
But there are plenty of studies that do. A study published in 2006, for example, found that young girls who were exposed to Barbie doll images had more body dissatisfaction and lower body esteem compared to girls who were shown similar pictures of a larger sized doll. But fortunately, it goes both ways.
Playing with a more, I guess, quote, chubby doll actually suppresses the desire for a thin body. So thinking about it only as negative really doesn't tell the full story, because there are ways that we can introduce dolls and play that will actually yield protective effects.
And that's why some experts applaud Mattel for creating Curvy Barbie. But it's also led to a whole new business for people who want to make even more realistic dolls. Because, let's face it, Curvy Barbie still doesn't depict the average American woman.
So curvy, tall, and petite Barbie, I think, it sounds good, curvy, tall, and petite, we're all diverse and everything, but if we actually look at their individual, each doll is still unrealistic, because the curvy is still the perfect hourglass shape, the petite is very extremely slim, and the tall is basically essentially the original Barbie, except just kind of a little bit taller.
That's Nikolai Lamb.
I'm the founder of Lamely, which makes dolls with realistic body proportions to promote healthy body image.
Lamb competes with Mattel for business, so of course there's some difference in opinion about the perfect doll. But if you look at his dolls, it's easy to see how they differ from Barbie, curvy or otherwise. And in the end, maybe there is no perfect doll. After all, people come in all different shapes, sizes, and colors. and it's pretty clear that dolls should too.
Okay, so hopefully you guys found that video interesting. I know the first time that I watched it, I had a lot of questions and just wanted to debrief. So just take a few minutes, probably like 3-ish minutes to look over some of these questions and think through them, and then we'll come back as a group, and I guess we could just popcorn through some answers. But I also do want to spend a few, like probably at least a minute and a half on each question. If I could participant once you guys are ready to share as a group. Okay, should we start sharing out now? Does anybody want to start the discussion? How did the real life Barbie proportions surprise you? If you don't want to say it verbally, you could also just type it out in the chat for everyone to see.
I've seen a video or videos on this before, so I was kind of aware of Barbie proportions, but like the thing that has always been weirdest for me about it is her neck, I think, because it's so weird seeing that on a real person. And that might not be, it's not usually like the emphasis of this topic, but it just draws my attention.
Okay, what were your guys' initial thoughts on the curvy Barbie and just the overall labeling different body types when we're selling these dolls? I personally thought that was a little problematic. I didn't know why they felt the need to even label certain dolls as petite, curvy, tall. But let me know what you guys think.
I think they did this because they were trying to handle the criticism that people have had for Barbie for years, but I agree with you that I don't think it's the best for 2 reasons. One, when you label, for example, this is curvy Barbie or this is tall Barbie or whatever, then you're saying that like the regular Barbie is the default, and I just said the regular Barbie. So it's like, well, this is like default and normal, and then these other things we need to label. But then also the thing that was kind of disturbing to me about the curvy Barbie is that she had the exact same like very like skinny and small face, so they and arms and legs, so they basically just expanded like her midsection, but then the rest was the same. So, and that's not usually how people look. So that was weird to me.
Yeah, and Faith actually said something in the chat that I think is really interesting. The fact that they labeled the curvy Barbie doll as curvy when she actually represented more of like the average measurements of females in America is really interesting to me because well, actually, the curvy Barbie doll, I think she had a waist size of 63 inches, and the girl in the video had a smaller than average waist of 63 inches. So even that is just super unrealistic. But do you guys think that Mattel implementing the curvy Barbie is a step in the right direction, or do you think it like, I guess is good?
I mean, like maybe if it was done out of good intent, but they are just doing that to get profit because, like, if they didn't have to do that because of criticism, they wouldn't. So.
Yeah, and I actually didn't look any more into this, but I didn't see anything like for Ken. So what do you think that that portrays either about body ideals, about men to young girls, or how does that make young boys feel, even though they're not typically associated with playing with Barbie and Ken?
I think it shows that people think that men and little boys are not worried about body image, or they think that stuff like that doesn't affect them, which obviously we know that's not true.
And do you guys think that playing with dolls should be reconsidered altogether? I know that the researcher at SUNY University said that there could be some positives and that it's all not negative. But when I was thinking about it, it seems like playing with dolls is really just like it's almost like a fantasy and like an ideal world. So do you think that like idealizing life in itself by these like physical, I guess, features could that potentially be problematic regardless?
I think it depends on the kind of dolls that you're playing with. I mean, I think that playing with dolls and acting out social scenarios or family relationships and things like that can be very healthy psychologically for a child. But I think it depends on, you know, are you giving them Barbie that is representing like an idealized physical person? And also, I mean, I'm so focused on materialism and that sort of thing, or are you giving them a doll that they can sort of either feels more realistic and represents a wider variety of people, both in body size and also, you know, racially and height, weight, all of those things, or you give it, you know, I guess that's I think that they can be healthy, but it depends on what you're offering the child to play with.
Okay, and any final thoughts on the Lamley doll as compared to the Barbie doll, or just as a, I guess, kids playing with them instead of Barbie?
I mean, my initial thoughts on the Lamley doll, I was kind of taken aback. I was like, whoa, this looks really weird, really different. But then as I started to realize, but this is more realistic than Barbie, it kind of just shows how exactly Barbie has influenced like toys and the way we see certain dolls, and like how we're not used to even seeing an average correctly proportional body portrayed as a toy. And so I think that just says a lot, that I was a little bit disturbed by it at first, and then I kind of realized, oh, this is actually more realistic than Barbie.
yeah, like a doll is weird if it's not like perfect.
Okay, that was really great, guys. I think we can move on to the next activity.
Awesome, thank you. So we're going to be doing something called Fido. I'm not sure if you've done it before, but so if you have another device or if you're on your computer and it's easy for you to switch tabs, please go to fido.com and put in this code, and then we'll get started in a minute or so. There's also the QR code if you're a newbie and would like to scan that. Usually that doesn't work for me though. If you want to just throw a thumbs up when you're ready, that would be great.
Do we need an event code?
Yes, it's this hashtag. So the work.
Got it, thanks.
Yep. Is everyone good? Awesome. So now we're going to kind of talk about something called the appearance ideal. I think the questions will start to make sense as to what we're going to be talking about. But basically what's going to happen is a question will come up both on my screen and on your screen, and you'll just answer it. It's completely anonymous. So now and later, I will not be able to identify who puts what. So feel free to answer as honestly or as openly as you'd like. So next, how do I go to the next question? Good. So what are we told that the perfect person looks like? So any phrases that come to mind or characteristics, just throw it in there. Also, you can do multiple answers. So skinny, small features, fit, perfect skin, flawless skin, white, proportional, Kendall Jenner, Gigi, flawless, proportional, which starts to mean different things at different times. So that's interesting. Model-like, skinny or athletic, white is popping up a lot. This is a word cloud that will like become bigger if more people put it. Clear skin, slender, hourglass figure, long silky hair, straight and white teeth, blonde, perfect skin again, curvy but then skinny, yes. So it starts to kind of contradict itself in a sense because you want to be thin, but at the same time you want to have the hourglass figure. Symmetrical, which what does that even mean? Groomed. Yeah, so as you see, like there's a lot of different characteristics that we identify as perfect, but again, like I said, some of them start to contradict. So you can't really be skinny but have an hourglass figure because that kind of doesn't really go together. Also, like this one literally calls it curvy but then skinny. So there's a lot of different figures, or characteristics, I'm sorry. So the perfect person is, as we've defined, all of these things. So I'm not going to reread them all because I've been doing that, but we would call this look, like this person that we've identified, the appearance ideal. But before we discuss the appearance ideal further, it's important to contrast this appearance ideal with the healthy ideal because they are not the same thing. You could be completely healthy and not maybe have some of these characteristics. So with the appearance ideal, people sometimes go to extreme measures to look like a supermodel, including some very unhealthy weight control behaviors and excessive exercise. So the goal of the appearance ideal is to attain a physique that is neither realistic or healthy. But the healthy ideal is the way your unique body will look when you are doing the things necessary to appropriately maximize your own physical and mental health and overall quality of life. So with the healthy ideal, the goal is health, fitness, functionality, and longevity. A healthy body has both muscles and adequate fat tissue. And so the healthy ideal involves feeling good about our bodies, both how it feels and how it works. And this will for sure look different person to person. Me and you can both be healthy, but it'll reveal itself in very different ways. So the next question is going to be, not a word bubble, but where did appearance ideals come from and how is it promoted to us? So think about where these ideas came from, how in our daily lives it's like just emphasized to us. Family members, culture, movies, dolls, TV, magazines, social media is a big one for sure. Culture, market interest, movies, parents. Yeah, so family, friends, sometimes peers, that's a good one. Social media is a big one. People literally, like influencers, get paid to like sell us these like detox teas. So that's a really big one for sure. But people of power, yeah, definitely. People of power use their power to do a lot of things. So it's good to acknowledge where these appearance ideals are coming at us from, and just the awareness of it helps to like acknowledge it and kind of try to navigate not listening to them. So the next question is, how do appearance ideal messages from the media, both traditional or social, so all of the things we just discussed in the last question, or other sources, impact the way you feel about your body? Again, this doesn't have to be your physical body, this could be mentally, whatever comes to mind. Not normal. I think with the Barbie video, someone said it feels patronizing. Depressed, bad, not enough. Inadequate is a good word. An exhausting battleground, yeah. So we also feel like because there are so many ideals that we feel like it's okay now, but around last year, I would look in the mirror after eating bad food saying tomorrow I'll do good, constantly striving, always chasing the newest trend. Yeah, I think that's a really good too, because they constantly change, and all of that is really important because it's hard to always be like at the newest trends but still healthy, and like the newest trend will not always be backed up by real evidence that it works or all these things. So we often feel inadequate because we do not look like those models that we address as being the perfect person, or we dislike our own bodies, and it honestly can impact our moods and our like psychological well-being. So it's good to acknowledge these different sources of like body negativity and where our ideals are coming from, and to like address how it makes us feel. So thank you all for sharing. I know that thinking about these things can sometimes be hard, but I appreciate your vulnerability.
Hi everyone. Sorry, I wasn't here at the beginning. I was in class, but I'll reintroduce myself real quick. My name's Hannah. I'm a junior and a second year body project peer leader, and I'm so excited everyone's here for this session. But now I'm basically just going to take everyone through a reflection with some discussion questions about some of the things we just talked about, and kind of like what are your final takeaways from everything we talked about and things you've learned and such. So one of the first questions is going to kind of pertain to the last thing we're talking about, or Marie was talking about with the appearance ideal. So I'm curious, what are some things you guys think that you can avoid, say, do, or learn to battle the appearance ideal? Whether that's with your friends, your family, peers, even on social media, whatever that may be. And feel free to type in the chat or just kind of speak openly about kind of what your thoughts are on that.
I've noticed that when I'm around like my younger cousins or younger kids who were my age when I first started struggling with my body image, I can say things to avoid them thinking the same thing about them. So I can avoid saying, oh, maybe this shirt doesn't work with my body, or I can say things that are more encouraging to kind of build up that self-confidence early on, and like kids who are younger than me, so they don't experience the same struggle early on that I did.
I like that a lot. But actually, I mean, if anyone else has a response to the first question, that kind of pertains to the third question we have, we can just skip the second one for now. But, you know, what are some things you would say to like your younger self or someone struggling with body positivity, whether it be like a younger sister or a friend or someone that, you know what I mean, if you were in their shoes, it's like, you know, it's so easy to be like, oh, like, don't talk about that, or, you know, you don't look like that at all, you know, you look beautiful, whatever. But then when it comes to ourselves, it's like, it's so easy to put ourselves down. So like, what are some things you guys would say to a younger self or someone struggling with body positivity? In the meantime, we're really thinking, I just saw a comment in the chat, avoid talking about calories. Really, that's a really good point. Or on how unhealthy / healthy someone is eating / being. Yeah, so those are very sensitive things, especially kind of coinciding with eating disorders and stuff like that. It can be really triggering to talk about nitpicky calories or what you're eating and kind of those mannerisms, because sometimes that can happen just subconsciously. And then I feel like I still don't really know what to say, even to myself. That's a great point too, and it's hard. It really is. Let's see. Give a non-appearance ideal based compliments to others and or yourselves. That's a great one too. And I feel that's going to lead me into my next kind of question. What are 5 things, we can just, you don't have to do 5, but things you admire about yourself? I feel like that's really important to kind of, I don't know, give yourself affirmations. And they don't have to be physical. They can be, you know, things about your personality, things about your abilities, things that you like to do that you love about yourself and that, you know, you love that you can bring to the table. If anyone would like to share or type. I could start with myself. Just to give an example, can't tell now because I'm not wearing makeup, but I love like my creativity and my artistry when I do my makeup and stuff like that. And I just love the way it makes me feel and how it turns out in the end, even if I don't know where it's going. It's just like something I really admire about my own abilities and creativity, how that comes out. This one can be hard, and honestly, I feel like it's more of a reflection, like internal question. So if you just want to think about that kind of as a takeaway, but I'm curious. Oh, sorry, I'm looking in the chat now. Okay, Adrian, I love remembering the physical function of certain body parts, like stomach for digestion or arms for preparing food. So important. I feel like some of those things can go so like not taken for granted, but kind of just like forgotten. It's kind of just like, you know, basic things. Like I get up in the morning, I walk, I can, you know, brush my teeth, do this or that. And it's like things that we just passively do that we don't realize how like privileged and amazing that can be to, you know, perform different functions. And then I'm going to love hearing all these things everyone admires for themselves. Yes, I find myself struggling giving others compliments, not based on how they look in the moment, which is sad. I'm working on it. That's awesome. And that's all you can do. I mean, it really is like a work in progress every day for yourself, for others. And I like that point. It's so natural to give others like physical compliments, like, oh, I really love your hair. Like, oh, you look so good. But you know, it almost like when you say like, oh, I like love your energy, or I love how you spoke, or I love your opinion on that. It's like, oh, you know, kind of takes you back and like, I didn't realize you thought about, you know what I mean? But yeah. And then I'll just kind of wrap up this reflection with, how has your participation in the Body Project, this little mini workshop today, change what you do or will do in the future to promote your own body acceptance? Any thoughts about that?
Yeah, I think it's like even though I talked about these things before, I think it's really important to like go back to them and remind yourself, because it's like it's really easy to stop and just fall back into body negativity for yourself and how you think about others.
Yeah, I love that. And it's so, again, like you said, it's so easy to fall back when it comes to yourself. It's like, oh, it's, you know, I can give compliments to everybody and just like, oh, like hype everyone up. And when it comes to yourself, it's kind of like, it's like harder in a way. But yeah, I think that's super important, just to kind of continue that discussion with other people and kind of like affirmations about yourself just daily, getting yourself in the habit of reminding yourself like why you matter, why your body is great, and, you know, etc. Okay, Maddie said, even noticing the urge and seeking to do differently is huge. Very true. And then I'll try to give at least one non-physical compliment to someone today. Awesome. I love that. And little goals like that are so good. Just kind of like, I'll give like she said, like I'll give a non-physical compliment to someone, or I guess the thing for me is like, it like in mirrors or whatever, I'm like, okay, let me like almost like body checking. It's like, you know, just cut that out, you know, little by little. Or I'm going to wear something today that I would like not feel comfortable going in public with because I'm like insecure about the way my body looks. Just, you know, little baby steps to kind of get you more into the, you know, groove of building yourself up. And then that confidence will radiate to everyone else. And it's just like a whole empowerment movement. I'm going to follow one person on social media that promotes the healthy ideal instead of the appearance ideal. That's real. I really like that one. And that one's almost like, I feel like a really good first step, because that's just kind of like putting yourself in the same environment as others to, you know, gain body positivity and kind of promote that for yourself and be around those like positive messages. So yeah, these are all great thoughts, and we have 1 minute to wrap up. So I was going to do a little promo for all of our Body Project stuff. So feel free to take a screenshot of this if you like, if that's easier. I'm gonna add the link to apply in the chat, or you could literally just search LUC Body Project on Google and then it will literally come up. But yeah, our Instagram for the Wellness Center is Loyola Wellness Center, and then the Body Project is the Body Project LUC. Feel free to follow us. This is a good first step if you want to try and follow some body positivity pages and such. We post a lot of content on there. And also to apply, we have a rolling admissions for peer leaders. So if you're interested, there's more information on that link, and applications, can also be found there. If you also have any questions about anything related to the workshops, applying, whatever, feel free to email us at thebodyproject@luc.edu with any questions. And yeah, that pretty much sums it up. If there's any like final questions anyone wants to ask in here, feel free. But yeah, thank you everyone for coming and staying and participating, and I'm so happy everyone's here and